random. I just started seeing the sickos use Samba TV as a source to push a narrative that Raw and Netflix did 664K views. Dummy. Yeah. Scully.
Dummy. Yeah.
You and I both know what the is Samba TV. You know what I mean?
Apparently, it checks on smartphones, is what I've seen. It either checks like it's the viewing of people's smartphones. That's actually a really big number, I would think. So
hold on, 664K were watching it on Netflix on their smartphones alone.
That's what I've seen people say.
Bro, what? That's actually amazing.
Right? That's what I thought.
Bro, more people watch that than Dynamite on TV on their smartphones on Netflix. Whoa.
Yeah.
The numbers must be insane. That's why they're number one. Yeah. See, these idiots just argue for us, dude. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's not, and us. I know I'm fully in on the wacko thing. Like it's crazy because it's not Phil the Shill. I buried that Punk match in the middle of. I'm always going to call it down the line, folks, like a good ump. However, it's like that. Like I feel pushed into that corner, and now I get the biggest kick out of just trolling a certain demo of a certain key demo of on X. But yeah, dude, Samba TV, and then they're gonna try and use that as a victory. Meanwhile, they were trying to use PlayStation Vista as a victory the other year, dude. If you remember that, so yeah, it's ridiculous. The sickos are dumb as Tony Khan? No. Raw was number one on Netflix, still at number 4. Right. So joining us now on the show, who will break that aspect of this down as we continue along. Well, we'll circle back to Sheamus, give him his due. Joining us now on the show, who will clarify what Samba TV is and who will also sort of break down, because what I'm reading online is like, okay, number 1 on Max means like 1 million people. AEW's not even in the top 10. So if you are going to try and compare it, it's like, okay, more people watched it probably on their tablets if Samba is what it is. But joining us now on the show, thank you, Pete in Texas, for that transition. Round of applause, everyone, for MJ from NJ. Round of applause. No Chris Connors. What's up, MJ? How you doing?
Can you give another round of applause for Pete in Texas, because he's a great follow on X.
Oh yeah, that's my guy, dude.
So Samba TV, what is it? I'm gonna plug another X account, which is Switchblade97, who brings the heat. Always got the data, always got the receipts on Meltzer. Switchblade97 posted a few images of what Samba is, but I'll give you a quick rundown. It's an opt-in data aggregator, data collector. In other words, you have to opt in. So if you know anything about like privacy on smart devices, you can opt out, you can block certain things. This one, you have to opt in. And they basically track smart TVs, maybe mobile as well. But of like 24 brands, it does not include people who stream through Roku. So for example, I use Roku. That's how I get to Netflix. Doesn't count.
Okay, I use Roku. Sorry to interrupt. I use Roku as well. I have one of those Roku TVs, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Also, no mention as to whether it's international or domestic, because we know this broadcasted live internationally with the Netflix deal. Seems like a key distinction.
Right.
And then it's also not capturing things like video game consoles and any other ways that people, typically millennials or younger, will access things like Netflix. But if you go to Netflix off of like your smart TV, that's one of these brands, and you have opted in, you essentially would be picked up by the Samba account. Now, some people may be more familiar with Samba Adidas shoes. Nobody's ever heard of this thing before. It's like a very niche thing in the industry. There is one obvious issue with this, which is Netflix top 10, WWE RAW. I think Netflix's top 10 or top 1 program is doing like 600,000 viewers only. Come on now.
Sorry to interrupt, MJ, and step on you because you're cooking. But here's the thing, dude. You just proved that it's even more than. So it's only the people who opt in to select smart devices. There were 660 some K, dude. So it's like probably even more than if we're talking all smart devices and people watching on phones and all that. Exactly as you said. I think I saw a fellow Watchman, Evil Dose, say online that he had some number. He's like, typically the number one on Max means like just over 1 million people watched, whereas like the top in Netflix means 2 to 30 million or something. I can't remember. I'm talking out of my ass here a little bit, but I'm sure you can shed some insight on that.
So I'll give you like what Samba covers. Their coverage, if you will, is 46 million TV devices globally, 28 million devices in the US alone. We know just from like basic information that there are cable channels that reach like 70 plus million people. So this isn't even half of what like a cable channel, like a USA or a TBS, like this isn't even half of what that would capture, right? So this would be like, we're going to take ratings of a program on a TV station and then disqualify half the potential audience. And we know that Netflix actually has a greater subscription, say, than some of these cable carriers. So this is kind of just like, you have to really be looking for something to throw against WWE to try to like create noise and kind of pollute the environment. I know one person who covers the business of wrestling. I don't know if you do names on here, but tweeted and deleted it. And I applaud him for deleting it. I really am disappointed to see Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics.
He deleted his clown shoes tweet?
Well, he posted about Samba, linked to his page, and then deleted it. And now, look, I've only spent like hours conversing with the guy.
Yeah.
I got a feeling his conscience caught up to him, because you can't do that in good faith and not be a literal distributor of disinformation.
I know. I used to just be so chill on Thurston, and now I'm like, nah, Thirsty. He's become one of our goddamn fools.
You just made the list.
For real. But here's the thing. Oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No. I was going to say, like, just to wrap on that, and I don't want to rag on him too much and give him unnecessary attention, but like, you hear a lot about misinformation and disinformation and quote unquote fake news and fact to publish
information. No.
Yeah. Like to post something like that. And this goes out for just everybody that is considering themselves a professional in the pro wrestling media space, multimedia space. You have a podcast, a blog, a YouTube show. Like if you want to be considered somewhat of a serious person for doing this professionally, you can't just go out. No. But and like what you do is slightly different than like trying to report or cover or give like expert. Like these guys present themselves like experts, and to go out and to publish this when you know full well that this is not an accurate sample or representation is just creating literal disinformation and then polluting the discourse with it. And it's what I said he's become, is like the Northrop Grumman of wrestling, where I'm going to give information to both sides and let them battle each other, and I'll just continue to sit here and get the attention for giving you the information. It's like giving weapons to both sides of armies, two armies fighting each other. We're just going to sell them both weapons, and that's why I say Northrop Grumman. But that's a deep cut for those who know. Anyway. Yeah, I just thought I'd clarify some of that Samba stuff, and I have some other thoughts, but take it away. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, for the 664, the article said that number's for the U.S. only. Okay. So boom, even more people then. Right? This is great. It was a lot of people who watched that Raw, dude, to be number one on Netflix. So MJ, what do you make of this? Like it was number one in Canada as well. I haven't checked today if it still is. I know it moved down to number 4, but what do you make of all that? Like, are we talking, hey, 3 million people could have watched this, or what do you just make of all of that? Smashing success, no, to be number one. It doesn't get more mainstream than that. Number one on Netflix, beating Squid Game, that's beating its last season. The first season, that was like the biggest thing ever for Netflix,
Yeah, the ranks, here's the thing, and like this gets into PR, this gets into a little bit of investor relations for Netflix and TKO. Like,
I just wanted to say Ashwin Navin, owner of Samba TV, is friends with Tony Khan. Someone just brought that to the show, a name I've never seen before in our chat. Shout out AEW wrestlers who are listening. No, I'm just joking. But I mean, hey, come on. Who's this J. Cole? I've never seen that name. Came and dropped a bomb, and I'm willing, if someone fact checked it, chat, Moose, get on it, fact check that. No, I'm just joking. But sorry, MJ, go ahead.
Yeah, well, so Netflix users in the U.S. is north of 65 million, closer to 66, 67 million, and this covers 25 million potential units in the US. So right there, it's like not even half of what Netflix's subs are in the US. Again, let's not beat a dead horse. But so I was saying this gets into like a PR, public relations, IR, investor relations, media relations. This gets into a whole game that companies will play, right?
Shared accounts.
But forgetting the metrics aside, because you can get into minutes watched, you can get to unique profiles, you can get into unique users, you can get into unique IP addresses. Like, who's to say what the real, right? They all have their metrics and they float whatever they want to float to the public. Why has there been nothing from Netflix? I'll give you a few thoughts there. One, this goes to the top 10 rank that you just brought up, Phil. The rank speaks for itself. It's number 1. It supplanted Squid Games. It has remained in the top 5 in Canada, in the US. It's probably continuing to get views, right? So when I say something like it's accruing consumption, every day that passes by in WWE RAW is on the front page of Netflix and in your top 10 or in your top 5 or number 1. It is getting viewed. Yeah. And for years, decades, for eternity, what feels like, everybody has been fixated on ratings. All right. And everybody has said, like, oh, ratings don't matter. Ratings matter in certain contexts, right? Yeah. Ratings can be an indicator. We see AEW ratings down. We see attendance down. We see buy rates down. Ratings can be a misleading indicator. We see Raw and SmackDown ratings potentially down year over year, or we see SmackDown down from when it was on Fox, but we see other things growing, attendance, gates, YouTube, merchandise, go on and on, right? So sometimes it can be misleading. Sometimes it can be an indicator for something. Ratings, however, have always been discussed in this kind of like same day, next day viewership, whatever the P2 plus is. It gets reported at 4:30. We all get around the X machine and we can't wait to see what name your favorite person is going to post. And then we all make fun of it or whatever. We have fun. And that's become tradition. And tradition is now broken. And why is it broken? Because traditionally, Netflix has always been a platform where people consumed content at their own pace over a duration of time, sometimes via binge watching, sometimes over the course of like, I'm still trying to figure out how to watch the rest of Umbrella Academy. I've watched like 3 episodes and I'll watch the next few eventually. So like over months. The point is, the paradigm has now been broken. We're not going to talk about Netflix viewership, raw viewership on Netflix in the same day kind of manner. We have to look at a bigger picture. You have to step back and you have to understand that the benefits and the advantages of of Raw being on Netflix is that it will now be consumed globally at the same time, but also globally over durations of time. So eventually it'll come out what the minute consumption was. It'll come out what the rank is in terms of like all of streaming versus just Netflix or Netflix and originals and that kind of stuff. It will all come out at Netflix's pace, but I'll tell you what Netflix, which is a $375 billion company, I think, the last I checked the market cap, could be wrong or not, but it's up there. You know what they're not going to do is break from their tradition of not revealing consumption numbers, is going to expedite the release of information. That if Phil, if they gave you the data as of the same day, and all of a sudden 3 days later, it's like, hey, we've now grown viewership by 4 million worldwide. Like, the headline's already the headline. So why would they rush a headline?
Exactly.
In WWE, WWE, who has probably every interest in promoting themselves, right? And we've learned for years that WWE is going to tout their successes and they're going to inflate numbers and we should not trust any of it. All right, well, you know what? WWE is kind of an evolved, grown-up company. It's kind of run by different people now. It's not really the same WWE. It's actually TKO's WWE. And they're not about to bed and loose lips sink ships with Netflix, right? So they're not preempting anything. But I will tell you, Stephanie McMahon, not a company official, noted on her Twitter account, and she doesn't tweet often, it's number 1. They're subtly telling you the ranks speak for itself. And it's probably not 10 million viewers. Globally, it may be, but it's probably not.
Oh, but that still is so cool, dude.
No, I mean, look, Raw has always on its best in the recent years, not really crossed 2 million. It probably got viewed by like 2 to 3 million people.
I think it's going to come out that it's like close to 3, and we're all like, oh, or it like is 3 maybe for that first one. We're like, holy.
But people would love to dunk on that. And my point is like, okay, that's the same day live viewership, and now go ahead and count everything for the next month.
Yeah.
Right?
Meltzer will go, sorry about that. Meltzer will be like, well, they didn't watch for like 20 minutes, but 2 hours. The key demo was his brain's gonna fry trying to explain this, dude.
Yeah, he is not equipped for this world.
No,
he's not equipped for the internet, much less for a world of streaming and analysis and trying to understand business strategy. That's first and foremost. But Netflix is going to end up reporting a number vis-a-vis probably Nielsen, right? Because everyone's running around about Samba. It's like, well, Nielsen will report something at some point in time. That number will be cumulative over a period of time, because the reality is like if 3 million got reported, they'd be like, that's not, Netflix has 66 million viewers subs in the US and it only got 3 million, and like that's not good. Like, what interest does Netflix, again, a $370+ billion company, have in like just having stones thrown at it by stupid wrestling people?
They don't give up. They're like gnats, bro, to Hollywood. I'm telling you guys this. Gnats, dude. I'm telling you.
Not even gnats. Yeah. Like the invisible bugs that you like only know that they're there when you wind up in a swarm's nest and you're like, I couldn't even see these from 2 feet
Dude,
away.
they're looking at these sickos. I'm telling you, it's not even a blip on their radars. And they are looking right now at like, okay, this thing's huge. It's getting hotter. How do we just get more fans and young fans and new generational fans? I was talking about it earlier. That's what they're looking to do. So the Nats can be quiet. It doesn't matter. And it's a no contest. This is over. I don't want to hear. If you want to argue, I like the wrestling better in AEW, cool. But I don't want to hear Dusty Dave or any of these freaks talking about key demos anymore. It's game over, bro. Sorry.
Well, yeah, for WWE, again, I talked before about the context of it all, so that matters. And for WWE, it is game over. Like you said, like, stop talking about this stuff. Who do you think is more influential in growing fans at scale? Davey Dirt Sheets with his newsletter or Pat McAfee with his ESPN deal, where ESPN can't even get rid of him if they wanted to. He's so electric.
Yeah.
Like, let's be real for a second. WWE, TKO, Hollywood, The Rock, John Cena, Pat McAfee, Logan Paul. Like, this is A-list.
This is A-list again. It's mainstream again, bro. It is. And it's going like Snapchat or Instagram or any of these apps. And what is everyone talking about, man?
You got the Minnesota Vikings posting about Tiffany Stratton winning a title because she appeared with a Vikings title at one of their games recently. This is an NFL team. Like, this is partnerships with the biggest and the best in entertainment, in sports, in media, in content creation, in content consumption.
Oh, no, it's just McDonald's. MJ, it's just McDonald's. It's not Wagyu beef. I only like Wagyu beef. I only eat Wagyu beef.
So, Big Boom AJ.
I got a funny... Phil, I forgot to post something. I was going to chime back at Fat Ass Massa. Shout out Fat Ass Massa. Longtime fan of his. I posted something sarcastic about Wagyu beef because he said he went for Wagyu beef with the Young Bucks and he actually liked it. And I was like, wait, so you agree with me? Sorry. People know who Fat Ass Massa is. It's kind of funny because I don't think he understands anything. I want to just pivot to Max and AEW because we talked about context and I just explained why Netflix and why WWE have no interest in rushing a number. Context matters. Okay. WWE and Netflix are industry standards, industry leaders. And I'm not just talking pro wrestling industry for WWE. I'm talking about like entertainment
and sports and live 52 week a year traveling entertainment. Yeah, it is the leader in all pay-per-view. Before people were doing pay-per-views, who was doing them? You know, so
but not just that. Netflix, you know who Netflix's biggest competitor was for like a good little while back in
WWE Network.
20, exactly.
In streaming, bro. That's crazy.
And by the way, all those executives actually give credit to like them being at the forefront of this. Like, people thought it was crazy and like, oh, look at us now. If every league had been so far advanced, maybe they wouldn't have the struggles that they're having. But at the same time, they're all making record money. So it all works out. So AEW and Max, why is it different? And somebody actually asked me privately, like, why don't you have the same energy for that? Like, you're explaining why WWE Netflix won't reveal numbers right away, but like, why don't you say that for AEW and Max? Here's the difference. AEW has seen like 30 to 40% declines in viewership, which have correlated with attendance and correlated with other metrics, revenue for being one of them. If some of that explanation was cord cutting, right? The idea is, well, people just aren't watching on cable, so that's why the viewership is down. Then it would behoove AEW and Warner Brothers, who has now invested in AEW in terms of giving them another contract for a lot more money. It would behoove them to have good news. Hey, look, like this whole thing online is overblown, and like the reality is like, look, we're going to regrow our user or fan base based on, streaming data. It would also, for Warner Brothers Discovery, which ranks like in the bottom third of major streamers in terms of usage, it would behoove Warner Brothers Discovery to say, look, we made a strategic investment. We brought back AEW. We think this is really a potential growth area for us for younger audiences. And immediately the first simulcast it did X amount. We know that AEW is not in Max's top 10. We also know Max's top 10 is one of the most, one of the lowest consumption platforms of major streamers, right? So you can go Netflix, Disney Plus, you can go YouTube, you can go Amazon Prime, you can go Paramount Plus, you can go like all the big ones, right? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like Warner Brothers is near the bottom.
Yeah.
So if you are Warner Brothers, if you are AEW, if you are not the industry standard, if you are more like the industry joke, you need good news. So you promote good news if you have any to share. Warner Brothers is not benefiting itself by holding back information, which could then be like, people can cast doubt on it, or advertisers can be like, wait a second, we thought we were getting this and we're getting that, right? Warner Brothers needs to show that people are watching something on it for advertisers, for investors. So there's not really the same impetus there, or like the same incentive structure like Netflix, which historically has never done that, never shown that data real time up front, same day or week after something gets dropped. They might do it for big events. And why is that different? Because they're big events. They're in the business of recruiting big events. So Phil, if I wanted to host your show on Netflix, right? And then I wanted to host another show, I'd probably promote how much your show did if it was successful in order to get the other show to trust me to host it. But they already signed a 10-year deal with WWE. It's episodic every week for the next however many years. So it's different than trying to recruit. They're not actively recruiting other properties like this because we know from all the talk on Wall Street and in Hollywood, this is the first time they've dipped their toes into the water. They need to see how it goes first, and then they will go from there. And I think at that point, you'll see, cumulative numbers that will be kind of staggering because it's global and because it's been over the course of a month, not one day.
Well, yeah. And also, I mean, you're going to have sports on there. You're going to have these other live events. I wonder what's going to happen when they pre-tape a show for like the holidays or something, how that's going to come across on Netflix. How long for a WWE PLE on Netflix? I'm in Canada. The PLEs are on Netflix for me already. So
now I think you might see those numbers come out more real time, the way that you would typically see a pay-per-view buy rate come out. Yeah. And you see it sometimes with Peacock. It'll be interesting because in the US where I am, like we're watching on Peacock and you'll be watching on Netflix. It'll be interesting to see what like the total number is globally, because now it'll all be in one place and very easily reported. And because it's a global number. And again, going back to that, like PLEs are more akin to a NFL game or to a boxing match where it's like a one day, it's a one-time event. Yes, great. Special event. Premium. I mean, it's in the title. Premium live event.
Exactly.
Play something dumb for me because that was stupid. I didn't just think.
Oh, here, I got you. Ready? I got the perfect thing. Here you go.
Dummy. Yeah.
So Dose Evil, fellow Watchman, says Raw's down to number 4 in the USA on Netflix. Neither AEW show is or ever has been in the top 10 on Max. As we documented some days ago, the number 10 spot on Max is approximately 100K viewers in that week. The 10 spot on Netflix worldwide, I don't know, US alone, is 1.6 M. Number 1 has been up to 30 million worldwide. And this is the other thing. We're talking we ganking global. What song is that? Is that we going global? Is that Migos or something? Anyways, I'm an idiot. But yeah, it's just global now. Even the U.S. just alone, Canada just alone, it's global now, and the PLEs will reflect that. We saw a surge in pay-per-view buys as well over the holidays for the War Games thing. You don't think they're gonna go like WrestleMania is not going to be a bigger deal on Netflix and stuff? I don't know. I think it only gets bigger from there.
And Pete in Texas raises a good point. I've been saying this a little bit online too. Like, I think that there is going to be a trend. Well, let me not give out free ideas for anybody here. I'll tell you guys off air. But I think there's going to be a trend of binging episodes of Raw. Maybe not the entire episodes, but again, you go back to like a metric, minutes watched. I think there will be a trend of people going back and watching things, especially younger people, before big events. And I think that if we know anything about Netflix, is that like people will watch 8 hours of Love is Blind in one sitting. So like you're telling me they're not going to go cherry pick like 3 hours worth of Raw, a couple episodes, 20 minutes each, 30 minutes each of like the segments you want to see.
Well, goddamn, man, I appreciate your breakdown on all of this.
The same holds true. The same holds true for AEW. And if I was AEW, I'd be leaning very hard into cultivating content creators to figure out how to capture an audience to go do that.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate that. I just try and be funny, and just try and be like honest about this. I don't take myself too seriously, and I'm just reading what other people are saying and then breaking down. Well, I'm just putting the puzzle pieces together as best I can, and
do a great job.
I don't know. I appreciate it.
I wanted to start Dynamite. People think I hate AEW, and I heard you say this before. Like, I don't hate AEW. Like,
did I say you hate it? I say everyone hates it. Everyone's like, oh, come on now, Phil. He doesn't hate it.
No. You said it before, where like you try to stay down the middle, but sometimes it's too hard to avoid. Like the sickos are so insane sometimes.
That's why they're the sickos.
Yeah, like I don't hate AEW. I guarantee you I spend more money on AEW pay-per-views than like 90% of their sickos. But like at the same time, I just can't help myself because they're so stupid. And I'll say another thing. I just explained a lot of stuff about how to think about Raw viewership going forward, how to think about the business incentives and kind of the strategic decisions that go into like releasing information, and how to, in some worlds, you call that like level setting or expectation setting. And I just want to give an unequivocal F to like 99% of the so-called professional or like the major media in wrestling, like the elites, the ones who think that they're experts, not just glorified fans with like an account. I want to give them an unequivocal F on failing to actually prepare the IWC for like the last 2 weeks. Unbelievable failure. And it really makes me think that there's something else needed in this space to just educate fans. Anyway.
Well, this guy, David Haytick, hopefully I said that correctly, member, a part of the PWT universe here, says, I've said it many times, I like AEW more than I like AEW fans. Yeah, they're killing it, and I say stepping on their own dick. The reason it's infuriating with AEW is because they have everything there. They have all the resources, the money, the talent, everything they need. They just get up. They always find a way to not
except for leadership. They have everything but leadership.
Yeah.
They're an incompetent leader. Did you guys do the Mad Dog thing already? And somebody said something about my mic. Is my mic all messed up?
No, you sound great to me, buddy. And you sound clearer than Awful does anytime he comes on. But yeah, dude, we covered the Mad Dog thing.
He said something so funny last night that genuinely made me like I popped in a way that I rarely do, and it wasn't even like the joke; it was his delivery. Man, he is smooth. When he writes a book, it's going to be great.
So I've said it forever: comedy's 90% timing and delivery. It's less what you say and more how you say it and when.
Is that Jake?
Yeah, it's me, buddy.
I had no idea. I couldn't tell who was here with me. I've been avoiding saying your name because if I said the wrong name, it was George or somebody. I didn't.
Oh, dude, yeah, no, my bad.
No, you're good. You were on fire. I didn't have anything to add to it. It was good on its own, buddy.
Newest WWE Raw super fan, Hey Kay Adams. Never thought we'd see the day. So Up and Adams show. I'm totally unfamiliar with it, but she's, I guess, pretty mainstream. So I don't know if Jake or MJ, you guys familiar with?
I'm in the same boat as you, but she's definitely famous. A lot of people know who she
is. There is a world, and you mentioned before, like not being here in America during our elections, et cetera, et cetera. Donald Trump in part won the election because there's a world of influencers and creators and people with big platforms that talk to younger people in the demo, slightly under the demo, high school, college, mid-20s. And there's not a lot of people that are like aware of it if you are above a certain age. Now that said, I didn't know who she was, but this is great. This costs nothing. This costs trying to build. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. Part of WWE being in TKO is that it's tied to Endeavor in the talent agency. So for a lot of these folks, like, this is a logical thing. Is like, how do I become friendly with this agency that can like propel me? Well, I'll do some things for them. But I don't think it costs anything. Like, you just get a bunch of influencers to kind of be like, I've never gone to Raw and I'm going to go to Raw and talk about it. And that goes viral and it hits with millions of young people and it hits with like our demographic because we're like, whoa, who's this person? This is crossover. Like, this person is probably something to somebody younger than us and yet crossed over to us. And now we know who she is. So isn't it beneficial to her? This is smart. This is how you execute go-to-market strategies. I always talk about that, like go-to-market. What's that mean? How do you actually present your product in the market? Yes, it's a TV show. It's 3 hours. It's content that you watch. But how do you present it to the world? And you go to market with somebody like this, and it's just like home run. Great job.
Yeah, she has 673,000 Twitter followers. I think that's pretty sweet. So that's a lot of people. And here's AJ Francis, TNA superstar, former WWE superstar. And let's hear, like, I don't know, I didn't listen to this, but here's her standing out over WWE. And he's like, damn, I wish I was part of that. No, shout out AJ Francis. I know people call him Flop Dollar. I am actually a fan of his. If you've been watching him at TNA, really good. Let's listen to what she has to say, though. I guess she's famous and no one ever would have thought. She likes Dolly Parton, though, so that's a plus.
And Fleetwood Mac back there, too.
Yeah.
And this isn't a joke. The most welcoming sports or whatever base I've
So she just called wrestling fans the wackos, the most welcoming sports base, and they are. The sickos are not.
Exactly.
And we have sickos in the sicko segment replying to her, being like, "Oh, watch real wrestling." So they never fail. But yeah, let's listen to what she says.
Yeah, if you've been in a good audience, you know.
Yeah.
I was in one on last Friday.
So like I've worked in, and this isn't to put anybody else down, but like I've dabbled in some like boxing and stuff like that. And it's no, everyone, even on Twitter, they're not like, this idiot does. I mean, there, of course, some of that, but there was just like, welcome. Yes, enjoy, love this. Yes, that was, 7 gin and tonics deep. Love that video.
That video is incredible. No, it's funny because
I got a Moscow Mule.
Wrestling fans, when they are interested in something, or when, for example, someone like you who is coming to a show, is admitting you're not a big fan, but you're willing to check it out, like they appreciate that, because wrestling is going more mainstream than ever. I mean,
what a good look having a TNA hoodie on, though, too.
Smart.
It's not going to be a surprise. They haven't announced it yet, I don't think. But I'm positive however many people.
Kay Adams did Good Morning Football on NFL Network. Oh, so this is huge, dude. And then they have AJ Francis, former NFL player as well, and then used to host Good Morning Football, So that's crazy. So now she does her own thing, almost 1 million followers. And this is, and then having AJ Francis on again is good crossover. You put TNA here. Look at TNA hoodie on there.
This is why I took to Twitter last week and I said AJ Francis has been more to TNA than Swerve Strickland has been to AEW.
Yeah.
And people can act like that's some kind of crazy thing to say, but by the numbers, TNA is on the up. TNA just got that deal in Canada. TNA is getting publicity right here in this image alone.
Yeah.
Being affiliated with a partner that is totally cool with that. And AJ Francis has really stepped into his own shoes and be owned who he was in WWE. He's talked about it. He's not shied away from engaging with people. He has done everything to put himself out there. And I give him a world of credit. And that's not to say that other talent haven't, but this is the benefit of partnering with WWE, is stuff like this. This is unpaid, earned media. This is doing work.
show on Netflix last night, it'll be the most watched wrestling event of all time.
Yeah.
It'll be the most watched wrestling event of on time. Yeah, she goes and just fawns over
Stream
it.
of consciousness as you were marking out over Topanga, and I was like, of course. I was like,
who didn't mark out over Topanga and Macaulay Culkin? So I don't know. Shout her out. That's a man. We're not going to listen to the whole 3 minute clip.
Fun fact on Topanga: married to somebody who worked for WWE, and then went on to talk about it way too much. The cinnamon toast crunch guy, he went like viral during the pandemic, and he like since kind of disappeared from public spotlight. He's been to AEW shows. Like Topanga's been to.
Oh, I know she has.
You just talk about leaning into like creating publicity and creating kind of this attention that doesn't cost much other than just like building relationships and doing it. These are not even comparable companies, and I don't mean to say that like it has to be compared, but like these are all examples.
Wait, but can we talk about the real travesty here? Can we talk about the real thing that happened here on the Netflix Raw chat? I need you guys engaged with this too. Boy Meets World fans, hello. But listen, can we talk about the real travesty? What the with Will Friedle or Will Friedle, like Eric Matthews? Why didn't they put his name up there? That's crazy.
They got him. I felt bad. But he did have a good bit backstage with the New Day. So that
with Topanga. No, but it was the Topanga bit. Hold on a second now, MJ. That's misinformation. No, I'm just kidding. But it was Topanga's bit, and then he just piped in and went, she's right or whatever after she said the thing. What the is going on here where they just leave him out? Do they not think he was like nostalgic enough? If you're going to put Topanga and Macaulay Culkin, there's no way we all didn't know who he was too. Will Friedle or Friedle. I don't know.
It would have been funny if they put Eric Matthews, like Daniel Fishel and Eric Matthews. Like we all like, you know Eric Matthews.
Come on. Oh, come on now, MJ. That's not very fair. So speaking of like, Eric Matthews was a hunk when everyone was younger, I'm sure a little teen heartthrob or whatever back in the day.